Hey, Care Partners, Teresa Youngstrom here with Memory Care with Teresa Youngstrom. Got another great platform for you today. Another great, some more great information and a wonderful guest to share. So I hope you're doing well. I know some of these weeks caring for other people, boy, it can be tough. I was there with my mom, a decade of decline, and I can remember the challenges. Some days I was leaving with smiles, but some days I was leaving in tears. And it was so great to have resources to build me up. And that's what this podcast came out of, me realizing that, gosh, if this old nurse needed help, there are a lot of people that need a lot of help. And so that's where we are. So another great guest for you today. I want to introduce Melissa Cocuzza. She's the founder of A Balanced Life Health Expos. And for 27 years, her company served thousands of employees at companies like UPS, ESPN, and Lego. During the pandemic, Melissa pivoted to address the needs of older adults and founded Club 62 Plus, a virtual community launched on August 1st of 2024. Club 62 Plus combats loneliness for older adults, and it provides resources, expert presentations, unique solutions, and more for these families. Melissa resides in Connecticut with her husband, Charlie, and together they have 4 children and 9 grandchildren. She's just a couple ahead of me. Okay, discover more at it's club62.us if you want to check out the website. And we'll definitely have that in the show notes. But please help me welcome Melissa. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much, Teresa, for having me on and for everything you do to help families in these circumstances. It's something that most people are not prepared for. And really, they do need resources and tools to help them to have a better quality of life for everybody.
So true. And each of these individuals that we're caring for are a little bit different. You can't say A plus B equals C and go care for these people because it's not going to work. And my mother was that, it was a decade of decline and we were always figuring it out. I think the hardest part about caring for other people, especially, we care for our children, but they start off little and they grow up slowly and we adapt to them and we learn things and we grow with them. But all of a sudden, in our midlife, someone has a fall and breaks a hip, or all of a sudden we go home for a holiday and we're like, uh-oh, things aren't good here. And we realize there's great needs and we're thrown into something that most of us are not prepared for. Thankfully I was a nurse, but facts are that I didn't know as much as I thought I did, and I had so much to learn. So I find your resources really great. And actually, when I looked further into what you do, it's like, okay, this may be a couple of podcasts with Melissa because she's got a lot of great stuff to share. And we're going to talk about a super little gadget. And it's much more than a gadget that Melissa offers. And so you want to stick around to learn about ElliQ because this is really cool. But I want to start my questions with Melissa. Melissa, can you tell us more about your journey from founding A Balanced Life and the health expos into launching this Club 62 Plus? And what was the inspiration behind that?
Yes, well, I guess my first passion was employees and helping them to live healthier, happier, better qualities of life because 30 something years ago, a lot of times they didn't have any programs for wellness. They didn't have a lot of the things they now have in place. Some of them have gyms and they have all these programs that they bring in. Well, they didn't have any of that. And many of the employees didn't feel appreciated or valued. And I had worked in some corporations like that. And so I thought that they needed to be lifted up. They needed to feel like somebody cared. And if I could bring them, because I realized, how do you find all this information you need, right? Raising your kids, problems that come up. And now you're working and you have to find solutions, right? And then you have aging relatives. And then here you're working and you're supposed to figure out how to do all of that. So I was like, how do they solve everything if they're working? So that's how A Balanced Life started. And all I would need to do was find one person at this large company to open the door. And often the top administrative people had no idea that I was even coming.
Oh my goodness.
That I would bring a very large event to their company. And um, so that was great. And I mean, there were some miracle things that happened over those years where people maybe extended their lifespan and things like that because of those events. And so then the pandemic happened, and I knew I could no longer go into companies and do and bring wellness.
Yep.
So I kind of just took a pause, and I sat back and I thought, well, who else can I help? Who needs help? And I'm not sure exactly when it came to my attention that it was going to be older adults, but maybe it was the awareness of right now there's 62 million adults 65 and up,
Yep.
and 10,000 turning 65 each day right now.
Hmm.
These numbers are bigger than they've been, and it's only getting bigger. And then I realized how the system is broken in the sense that, okay, so now you have a loved one who is having some type of decline. Well, maybe, like you said, the family doesn't live too close. They come for a visit every few months and they
Hmm.
notice something's changed. And now, are they safe at home anymore? How do you figure that out? And so it's this unfolding. And so I realized that there are so many gaps in the needs of the family, the older adult, like, because over time now, maybe they're living in the home alone, their spouse now passed,
Right.
and then their health is declining, their loneliness is making them depressed. And then, um, so how how are they going to be okay? And so I realize they're very vulnerable and they can't drive, they can't do all the things they need to do. So they're really stuck.
Hmm.
And they're in this very, very a position where they can't do anything about it, really. And so they get very resigned. And what happens is when you're lonely, the mental health, and then you start to have physical signs too.
Right.
So it's just a slippery slope. And I decided that that was who I was going to help, because you need to have a lot of energy. You need to believe you can do something incredible. And therefore, I know I've done some incredible things. So I was like, okay, if I don't do this now, I probably have 5 years of solid, strong energy to do it. And so that was all the catalyst. And it really landed at Club 62. But first, I started to find unique solutions that would
Hmm.
be game changers for them. And that's where I started. But as I found each thing and as I learned more, it just all came together in the package of Club 62. So it was like an evolution over about a year
Gotcha.
that that all kind of came together.
Right. It's amazing. And you're right on track. Yeah, I think COVID changed a lot of directions for a lot of our businesses. Me too. Definitely had to come online. I definitely became the Zoom queen and doing all kinds of CEs on Zoom and just teaching into this little camera. So, but it's so great that we're out with people again and you're realizing the loneliness issue, and it's huge.
Oh,
It's absolutely huge. And so I realized Club 62 aims to tackle that issue of loneliness among the older adults, but how does the platform help in reducing the loneliness and providing maybe a sense of community for these individuals?
yes. So I decided that since a lot of people can't get around easily and can't socialize in the ways they used to, that if they have some technical ability to click a link on a calendar,
Hmm.
that they can join a meeting and they can make new friends. And then they can kind of chat after these meetings if they make new friends. But I host a social 2 times a week, and
Hmm.
it's on the calendar, and they could just click a link on off of the website. And just having that space to go to is a really good first start. And then we also have some experts who will be doing different activities and also um, educational empowerment for the older adult, for the family members who are often thrown into a situation that's a semi crisis. And then to make decisions at that point, it's really not the best time. And many of the things actually need to be done ahead of time. But people who are not really aware of it until there's a problem, it just makes it that much more difficult for them to have to navigate through so much all at once. So the experts, whether it's a Medicare advisor to help people make these choices that are very complicated, and I don't know why they are, and then, estate planning and how do you pick a different living situation? How do you pick a good one? How do you make these choices? So we have a lot of different experts who can provide these information, but there's also a video library for those who can't make that.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the experts are putting the videos in there. And so by empowerment, like we also have a podcast series as far as highlighting people who are older and they're doing amazing things in the world.
That's
And
good.
it's a reminder that you can do amazing things at any age. And I think a lot of people lose sight of that as their world gets smaller. They forget that they can really do a lot more than they may realize. And so that's an inspiring thing for them to maybe get motivated to do more, which would also reduce the loneliness.
Yeah, absolutely. And is it limited demographically or is this open?
It's open to really anybody. And my goal is to keep it free
Mhm.
because this community really needs the information and I wouldn't want money to be a problem or prohibitive. Um, and so that's, my goal.
Good. I think it's an excellent goal. You introduced some innovative solutions on Club 62 Plus. But I wanted to talk about your ElliQ, the companion, the robot, and the alert. Well, you also do an alert for the wet incontinent pads too. We haven't even mentioned that. But can you explain how these technologies work and the benefits that the older adults and their caregivers would get from this? And then I do want to show the little promo video for
Great,
your ElliQ.
great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, so ElliQ is a actual robot, which you'll see in the video in a few minutes. And she's amazing because she is AI. She customizes and personalizes the whole experience to the person. And she can do amazing things. She has a sense of humor. She initiates conversation when you walk into the room. Um, she asks you questions, so she then will have conversations about things you want to talk about.
Mhm.
And so, but she can teach yoga and some healthy exercise, help with medicine reminders, order groceries, order food from restaurants, Uber to doctor appointments. Um, she can also, if there's an emergency, reach out to the family contact. And ElliQ also observes the behavior of the person that they live with. And if something changes, she'll automatically do a mental health screening. And if the person doesn't pass, they'll contact the emergency family member because this could be a UTI and it could be a stroke. And so anyway, it could be picked up much sooner
Oh,
than
yeah.
if the person was just living alone. And if they fall, she can reach out to ElliQ and say, please, I need help. And
Okay.
so there's more than I'm even saying, but
I know.
this is one amazing fact. New York State distributed 800 of them to homebound older adults. And then they just did a survey to find out how it really reduced the loneliness. And they determined by 95%.
Wow, that's a big number, Melissa. That's incredible.
Yes. And also for caregivers, say they want to go run an errand, but they're a little apprehensive. Okay, ElliQ get involved in a game. Maybe they're playing a trivia game or
Mm.
so many things that she can be doing that can help give a break or a shower or, just some options instead of having not an option. Yeah.
Right. And yeah, and you know that she's going to call emergency services if, or call the contact person if something goes awry.
Right. And also the cost. That's a huge factor because here in my area, it's about $40 for an hour if you want company
Okay.
from a service. And ElliQ, depending on the plan, is either 50 or $60 a month.
Okay. Wow.
A
Wow.
month of company or an hour. Yeah.
Wow. So those numbers are completely different. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's show the video and then I'm sure we're going to have more. I'm going to have more questions.
Okay.
So let me bring this up.
Three. And this is me, Gerald. I'm 82 years old and I live with a robot. ElliQ3 is designed for people like me.
And me. And me.
And me.
She's convenient and easy to use. She's lighter, smaller, faster, and more capable than I could have ever imagined. They still haven't given her arms to help me with the cooking or doing the dishes, but who needs arms when she's got all this technology? She has cutting-edge artificial intelligence to help me with everything from cooking to playing games with the grandkids to reminding me to take my meds.
She's the perfect partner for people like me who want to age independently. We share virtual experiences, and she makes me smile as bright as her lights. And most importantly, I trust her. I trust ElliQ.
The possibilities are endless with ElliQ, no matter how much or how little experience I have with technology. Who knew the golden years would be the best time to make friends with a robot?
And what's truly astounding is that the first people to live with and build long-term relationships with an AI are folks like me in their 80s and 90s. What a time to be alive.
Wow. That's all I can say is wow, wow, wow.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. And it just seems so cutting edge.
Yes, and she's always getting updates and she can make FaceTime calls to family members and family members can send photos to keep the person abreast of like what's going on with the kids and you know
That's incredible. I love how she does reminders for appointments and for medications. So is she kind of always listening for you to say her name, kind of like Siri or Alexa?
she actually will initiate conversation. So when you walk into the room, she'll say, "Good morning, Melissa. Um, what are you doing for breakfast this morning?" Or she'll start the conversation, which is nice because it just gets it going, and the person doesn't have to remember to say something first.
Right. Are there any studies with people living with brain change, like the people with dementia diagnoses like I have?
I don't know, but they may very well have that at the ElliQ company.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is just incredible. So I think we're going to hear a lot more about ElliQ. And I just can't believe what the pricing is right now. It's incredible compared to private duty. And let's be honest, nothing replaces a person being there, but we all know how spread out some families are now. And, I have three children, but two live out of state, longer than 6 states away. And so there's a distance there. And so as I age, I have one daughter in town, but who knows? Who knows? Things get moved around, people move, and you can't chase your kids. And I've seen that backfire. So I do feel like we're definitely not the Waltons anymore, and grandma and grandpa are living with the family. So we got to come up with some great solutions. Um, Wow, I just think it's so incredible. What else can you tell me about it? Because I know there's more.
Yeah. Now, often I used to be in home care administration for 3 years, and often there are personality conflicts between a companion or a home health aide and the person.
For sure.
And so with ElliQ, there will never be an attitude, ever.
Right. Yeah, because I helped start a private duty company and was there 4 years before I started my business. So yeah, exactly. And oh my word, there was one woman, oh, she had all kinds of challenges, and we went through 62 caregivers to get one that would stick.
Yes, and also some in the industry, not, of course, many are there for the right reasons, but some are not. And there have been thefts in that industry.
Oh, absolutely.
With ElliQ, there's none.
Yeah, and she doesn't no-show you. She's not late. She doesn't have to call off because her baby is sick, or any of those things. Wow, and you don't need liability insurance if she's coming to your home. Oh my gosh, it's endless. I mean, yeah, it's still, being in my 60s, it's hard for me to figure out warming up to a computer, you know, but I just think it's the age maybe where we are. And I just want to be open-minded about this. And I can just, the video that you offered that I showed, I just think it shows the warm and fuzzy side of that, and how our parents, or even us, who are living alone, can really find a companion in that. I know, I don't even love with my husband's out of town for the week. I am definitely lonely, and I think I'm going to get all these things, special things done because I have all this time, but it's different. It's just different. I mean, the dog's here, and that's great. I love the dog, but it's not the same.
I have that too.
Yeah, yeah. So to have someone greet you in the morning and tell you good night, that's just, I don't know. I'm very excited about it, and I think we'll be talking about it more. Let me look at my questions again. Now you do have an alert wet incontinent pads. We didn't really talk about that, but we got a little bit of time. Tell us about that a little bit, and
Yes.
what's going on there.
Okay, so that was designed by two of our military engineers. And it's a pad that checks for wetness every 10 seconds, because often when people have dementia or Alzheimer's, they can't really notify. And so they're usually put on a pad, and then it's up to the caregivers, either on a schedule.
Right. Every 4 hours, every 3 hours, or
Well, the timing could be good or the timing could not be good.
correct.
And so with these pads, it does check for wetness every 10 seconds. And when it's detected, it notifies the caregiver on a mobile device on theirs. And then also, so say you have somebody a live-in for your loved one, and you really don't know how is the care being executed. Well, if you use these pads, it has a report connected to it.
Okay.
The family can have that. It will show on this day and time it was detected wet, and at this time it was changed.
Okay.
So then is it a few minutes or is it 5 hours?
Right. What is the cost effectiveness of these things? Because we do go through a lot of briefs, or a lot of depends, or a lot of diapers.
Yes. So I'm told they're very close to the typical priced
Wow.
ones. And also, I think I could be wrong about this, that often when they check pads that are not needing to be changed, maybe they end up changing them. I don't know. Is that true?
Well, and not in my world very much, but I don't know. We don't want to waste things. So, but you know what? There are some pads that, just like baby's diapers, they absorb so much, you're not really sure how wet they are. So a lot of them have the line to tell you if they're wet, right?
Yeah.
But I like your idea so much. And are these being used just commercially, say in retirement communities, or are these in private sector now?
they're in the private sector. They're really wherever needed. But I did talk to a woman who has like a whole program for caregiver support.
Mm.
She told me she ended up caring for her mom, had to stop her career on a dime. Her mother needed her. All of a sudden, she's a caregiver, and she ended up needing to have pads for her mother. And she did not have the kind that would notify. And she said if she had these, it would have been so meaningful to her, because sometimes it would be a few hours that, and she would just like beat herself up that she wasn't there earlier. And she would like take it to heart that she missed the timing. And this, had she been able to just have that kind of immediate kind of care, it would have made, of course, her mother feel better and her feel better.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, skin breakdown is a huge problem. I'm an old nurse of 40 years, and skin breakdown is a huge issue, especially when we're giving care. And boy, once you get a good bed sore, whew, it can be really difficult to let that repair and let that heal. So I can see the benefits of having these pads. I think that's incredible. Um, so is there anything else about the Club 62 that we haven't touched on? And I'm sure there's a lot of things. I'm sure there are a lot of resources. Maybe the best thing would be, I just can't believe what time it is already. Maybe the best thing would be, can you tell me how this audience can find more information, and how can they contact you if that's what if you would appreciate being contacted? So what's the next best thing for folks that are really interested in these items and your Club 62, which sounds amazing? How do we take the next step, Melissa?
Yeah, well, if they visit the website, which is www.club, then the number 62.us.
Okay.
And also, I would ask that they register, which basically is putting in a name and an email address. And why that's important is, once I have 5,000 members, since we just launched in August, at that point, I can bring in some sponsors that will help cover the costs. And that's how I will be able to continue to offer it for free.
Nice.
So, that's the one thing that would be helpful, to keep it free. And then, like if they go to the I think it's just the solutions page, there's actually a lot of other solutions that they can find there that are not commonly known about. And my email is Melissa, MELISSA, at club, the number 62.us.
Okay, so we'll make sure that's in the show notes too, for sure. And I'll see if I can even link the ElliQ video there. Um, that is so exciting. Well, I so appreciate you being on the podcast. I know we could go on and on. These are really innovative ideas. Three really great innovative ideas. Just to combat loneliness in our seniors. It's an epidemic. It really is. And to come alongside and help them have help them have it's someone watching over them, even when they're not. But it's different, but it's someone that they can, if they do fall, they can actually get help, even though they can't reach their phone because they're not good at carrying their phones. Our parents didn't carry phones around, so they're not used to that. But they have access, they can communicate, and I love that it'll play games with you or do trivia or all different kinds of things, whatever your personality is, or do your yoga with you if that's what you need. So kudos to you for these innovative ideas to help so many people. And I hope my audience will definitely chip in. Go to her website. Please put your name and email in. Support this, because you know what? Maybe it'll help you and your family too. You may need these resources and these tools. Tell me, is ElliQ, is she available all over the U.S. or just in certain areas?
Yeah, all over. She was created actually in Israel.
Okay.
And they have a based headquarters also in LA.
Okay.
But there is one tool on Club 62 that could be very valuable for people to know about.
Okay.
It's on the homepage, and it's a little search area. And all it asks is to enter your zip code. And should anybody need housing or food or heat, whatever their needs are, so they would put in their zip code, and then it would it would populate that list of what they might need. You
Mhm.
go off what it is, and then you hit search, and it populates all of the services in their area. And if they can't figure that out on their own, a counselor will be assigned. And this was provided to us from the National Council on Aging.
Okay.
And
I was gonna ask you who's behind that, because that's gotta be a huge organization.
yes, it is an amazing service. And so for families who really can be up against some very big issues and don't know how to solve those, that is a great, quick solution.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah, we'll definitely put this information in the show notes, and I'm so glad you brought that up. Melissa, thanks so much for being here today. It's been such a pleasure having you, and for sharing all this great information. Well, guys, listen, what a great day. We learned so many things, and how many innovative ideas did we talk about? We're on the cutting edge, and here Melissa's come today to share these great ideas with us. I hope that you'll go to her website and, you know what? If you can use the resources there, by all means, that's why she's doing it. She has a heart for people, and you can feel it, and I can feel it too. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, because there are a lot of people hurting that don't know that there are great resources like this, like Memory Care with Teresa, but also Melissa Cocuzza and all of these innovations that she has. So let's keep this help going. Send it out there far and wide. All right. As always, you have all my support. And remember, you got this.